This nurse didn't know there was a camera. This is what she did. Hospitals aren't really the happiest places to be. Normally, they're crowded, stuffy, and somber, featuring plain white walls and food that may not be the tastiest. In addition to that, good entertainment isn't exactly the easiest to find. However, some nurses are doing something unique to change all of that. There may not be a nurse alive who hasn't felt like a not-so-great parent on a day that stretched to 14 hours or included a missed school play or birthday party. To that, we can only say, ease up, Mom and Dad. While nursing can place harsh schedule restraints on you and your family, it's also a profession that tends to draw out and enhance your parenting skills. Willow Stein's heroes don't wear capes, they wear scrubs. Going into the hospital is never a fun adventure, especially for a kid. For young kids who don't fully understand what's happening or why, it can be overwhelming. That's why nurses and hospital staff are so important and vital to the patient's experience, and every so often a story comes around like this one that makes you appreciate medical staff even more. 5-year-old Slade Thompson was going into surgery for his tonsils, his second surgery in a short period of time, and he didn't love hospitals in the first place. He usually was treated at a children's hospital, but this time was taken to Williamsport Regional Medical Center. The doctors at UPMC Susquehanna took great care of Slade, and the entire staff made sure he was comfortable. But the nurse that stood out the most was the one that came to his side after he came out of surgery when his mother couldn't be by his side. Annie Hagar was the nurse that was scheduled to check on him after his surgery. When he was coming out, he woke up from the anesthesia early and was so scared. Slade started crying when he realized his mom wasn't there. Then he asked Hagar if she would snuggle him, and without hesitation she laid right next to him and wrapped him in her arms. Kids don't typically come out of anesthesia very happy, Hagar said in an interview, which is why she was so understanding toward Slade. Slade's mother, Layla, was waiting outside in the waiting room, waiting for the okay to go in and see her son. When the doctors came out and told her that he was awake, what she saw when she walked into his room melted her heart. You want someone to treat your child the way that you would treat them, Layla said. She was so impressed by Hagar's actions that it brought tears to her eyes, and they brought her new favorite nurse presents the next time they saw her at his checkup. This little guy right here touched my heart, and his mama's beautiful kind words and actions have brought tears to my eyes twice now. This right here is why I love my job, Hagar posted on Instagram with a couple of photos of her and Slade. Hagar's post has since went viral and has been shared hundreds of times and has been covered on the local news. Facebook comments and everyone else on social media agree that we need more people like Hagar in this world. The best part of this story isn't that Hagar wasn't even scheduled to work the day of Slade's surgery. She was supposed to have the day off, but was called in due to the hospital being short-staffed. Who knew that when she went in, she would have an unforgettable impact on one scared little patient's life? When the 3-year-old Florida resident, who was recently diagnosed with leukemia, risked missing out on her birthday celebrations because of Hurricane Irma, the nurses and child life specialists at the hospital threw Willow a last-minute party. The toddler was diagnosed on Friday, 2 days before the hurricane hit and 2 days before her birthday, leaving her mother Jennifer, and her grandfather stranded at Johns Hopkins All-Children's Hospital in St. Petersburg. In addition, Willow's father and sister were unable to travel from their home in Wesley Chapel due to the storm. I was like, I don't know how much more I can take, Jennifer said to CNN. My baby's turning 3 and has cancer. And on top of that, my 4-year-old daughter and husband are an hour and a half away in a hurricane. I'm just trying to process all this. We found out that Willow was going to have a birthday in the hospital, so we prepared for it, Kelly Boyd, a child life specialist at Johns Hopkins All-Children's Hospital, said to Global News. Part of our role is to normalize kids' lives when they're in the hospital, and it's really inconvenient for the parents for their child to have a birthday there. But the team was prepared, along with the nurses in Willow's unit. Boyd and her colleagues ordered a cake, got banners and decorations, and wrapped some gifts that are regularly donated by the community. I asked her grandfather what her interests were, and he said she loved Frozen, Boyd said. In a video captured by the hospital, Willow can be seen dressed in a Little Mermaid emblazoned dress, opening her gifts and dipping her fingers into the icing on her birthday cake. You could tell when we walked in that she was so excited, Boyd recalled. After every present she opened, she would say, I always wanted this, and she went for the cake as soon as we put it in front of her. Needless to say, Jennifer was moved by the effort of the hospital staff. The nurses were amazing. They're so wonderful, she said to the news site. She's got to be a toddler again. Boyd said the best part of the day was watching the reaction on Jennifer's face, which fluctuated between smiling and tearing up. The whole part about doing something like this is to allow Willow and her family to not focus on the diagnosis and celebrate the child. For the 10 minutes we were there, her diagnosis wasn't present. It was just her being a 3-year-old and everyone enjoying the moment. Nurses at a Hendricks County hospital helped a 7-year-old boy have a very special birthday, even if he's away from his mother due to the coronavirus pandemic. Mackenzie Miranda is a registered nurse at IU Health West Hospital in Avon. Her son Brayson has been living with his grandparents as Miranda self-isolates at home. That meant he couldn't even hug his mom for his birthday. That's when Miranda's fellow nurses and some executives at IU Health stepped in to help brighten Brayson's special day. They recorded greetings that the hospital compiled into a video to let him know how much he's loved. "I want you to know that your mom is an awesome nurse who is doing great things here at West," said one of the nurses. "She's a hero. She's our hero. She's your hero. So be happy to have her as your mom, and happy birthday," said another nurse. The birthday greeting even came with a special appearance from Indianapolis Colts mascot Blue, who held up cue cards to share a birthday message. Miranda added her own message to her son to the end of the video. "Happy birthday, Bray. I miss you and love you. We'll be together again soon and you'll be able to come home," Miranda said. "This vibes didn't stop here. See what the nurse did." John Ronquillo, a cheerful nurse at St. Luke's Children's Hospital, has done something so inspiring to bring extra happiness and joy to patients each day. He performs a variety of silly and well-choreographed dances for all types of patients. Smiles can literally be seen everywhere he goes. Joe admits to loving dance and children. He has a job where he can flex both of his skills. Unsuspecting patients and long-term stays love his routines. Every now and then, he'll pull out a plethora of Michael Jackson-esque dance moves, and he's not bad for a nurse. Sometimes he'll even show his moves to curious, physically capable patients. He's been known to teach choreography, taking them through the motions one step at a time. Perhaps the grandest aspect of Joe's performances includes his wide grin and unabashed enthusiasm. He doesn't seem to do it for any other reason other than he wants to, inclined to dance and make people happy. On occasion, his performance includes a pair of backing dancers with special alternate choreography. At first, Joe would keep his dancing skills on the down low, only performing for a select group of patients. He didn't really want his employers to know, in fear of discipline. Eventually, the hospital found out about Joe's slick dance moves due to videos posted by patients on social media. St. Luke's proceeded to contact Joe, surprisingly overwhelmingly in support of his antics. He expressed his sincere appreciation for the support. Joe soon starred in an advertisement for Luke's Hospital, quickly thereafter making him a star of sorts. The advertisement features him in scrubs, walking into a patient's room with a boombox in hand. Upon setting the device on a nearby table, he presses play and proceeds to bring a smile to the young girl's face with his silly dancing. Some of his patients are terminally ill, and Joe admits to not holding back or being shy around anyone, only caring to brighten their day. The only thing he cares about is putting smiles on people's faces. He's beautifully above embarrassment. For periods of a recent Inside Edition profile, he speaks candidly and directly to the camera, detailing his mindset and methodology. He's a smooth operator, that's for sure, putting smiles on the faces of his patients, including those that are terminally ill, some of which don't have the brightest of days. Other hospitals aren't as lax as St. Luke's. Other nurses are different and more strict. But this isn't a normal hospital, and this is no average Joe nurse. In fact, it's Nurse Joe Ronquillo making the world a happier place one smile at a time. You can never be careful enough, and the requirement for having another nurse verify your results is an absolute must. Babies and children are not small adults, and their condition can rapidly deteriorate. In that role, you don't just have one patient, as the parents, and guardian of the child becomes like a secondary patient, which is to be expected. Cultivating the patience and skill to attend the child while providing support and continuous education to the parent is like being a master juggler, no pun intended. You must quickly cultivate patience, and the proficient PEDS nurse becomes a master in that art. Though it may prove less physically demanding on the body, as with everything that are trade-offs, teamwork is always essential. If you have the desire to work with children, enjoy teaching, really taking the time to help children and parents understand DX and TX, rather than thrusting some paperwork into their hands, saying, "Read this," can balance emotion with professionalism, and thrive on attention to detail, you are a special person and should take pride in putting those unique skills into practice. Rotating to PEDS always helped me to reassess my time management, flexibility, attention to detail, and attitude. Everyone share these great examples with your family and friends.